Welcome to the Grit Daily Startup. I'm your host, Sebastian Rusk, and this is a podcast about what goes on behind the scenes at startups. The good, the bad, and the gritty. Let's dive in. Glenn Gonzales, welcome to the show, brother.
Sebastian, thanks so much for having me, man. Really excited about sharing with you.
I'm excited to have you here. So thanks for taking some time out of your day to hang out here on the Grit Daily Startup Show. You know, this show is all about the world of startup. We like to say the good, the bad, and the gritty. So I'm excited to hear what you guys have been up to over at Go Jet It. But before we get into all that, let's help our listeners better understand a little bit about you and your backstory and what really brought you to present day with what you guys got going on over at Go Jet It.
Yeah, so, Jet It, we are a fractional. We've been in operation now for 3 years. We're a fractional private aviation company. People are buying a piece of the airplane, and what we do is give time. That's it. At the end of the day, if you lost someone during COVID, if you haven't seen someone for a long time, the last thing you want to do is miss out on that time with them. And that's what we do. We give people opportunities to have grander experiences with their families, to go see people, to go see new things and experiences. And we do so cost effectively. Having the autonomy and efficiency of your own private jet available to you with the crew. I like to say that it's kind of the new way to run your errands, but they can be personal errands, they can be business errands. They just happen to be out of state.
Sure. And I stand corrected. I said Go Jet It because that's your website on there. But I kept saying, before the interview, I was like, you better Go Jet It. And I'm like, what a great name on here for correction purposes. The name of the brand is Jet It. So my apologies on that there. So how did you get started doing all this? Let's talk a little bit about your backstory and what you've been up to that brought you into the aviation space.
Yeah, Sebastian, we like to fancy ourselves as an aviation company run by aviators. Both my co-pilot or my co-founder and co-pilot, I guess, we're both aviators. My experience is a little different than his. I started in the Air Force. I was a fighter pilot there, enjoyed my time, but the Air Force needs and family needs met at a crossroads. So I then went to Gulfstream. That was my introduction into the business side of aviation. Traveled around the world, flying the most amazing and amazingly opulent and brand new airplanes around the world, introducing the Gulfstreams to customers. But I love the time on the ground. I love the time talking with customers. And I appreciated the business side of the industry just as much as the flying side. So started selling airplanes and recognized, man, there's a huge gap in the marketplace that people are looking for the small and medium-sized businesses that they can afford more, but they just can't justify it. And that's where Jet It was birthed from, those conversations.
Amazing. So yeah, they were seeing that become more and more, mainstream. I've got it on my vision board and my list that if I'm not going to, until I buy my own jet, I will figure out a private solution as I continue my entrepreneur journey here. So I know that it's becoming more, dare I use the word mainstream, but these resources are becoming more and more available, which is great. It's making life just a little bit easier. I mean, that's what technology does, right? It makes life a little less frictionless. And of course, being able to get to where you want to go without having to go through your normal airport logistics is always a plus. I've flown private once, actually, down to the Bahamas and flew into a private airport. And I told myself, you know what? This is the way that it's done. And I got to tell you, the worst part of that experience was the Uber finding the airport, which is right near Fort Lauderdale Airport. It's kind of tough to find right there in the little loop. That was the worst part of the entire experience. Other than that, it was absolutely lovely. So when you guys first conceptualized this, of course, you'd been in the aviation space, you'd been on both sides, and you found that there was a gaping void for you to be able to fill based on your experience in there. With any startup, there's always some sort of challenge with being able to make that idea an actual reality. What were some of the biggest challenges you went through as a startup when making Jet It a reality?
Yeah, the biggest challenge in our industry is money. It's really hard to buy an airplane. How do you go from not having any, I was working for the company and I turned around and 3 months later I bought an airplane from the same company. That was hard, but our industry is just so challenging. It's so complex. There's so many regulations and areas of compliance, and there's so many ranging variables always at play: weather, winds, weight. The airplanes are machines with thousands of moving parts, and they have to sometimes break. And then you have situations with people. I mean, it's a grind. It's like any other startup, but there's so many more variables associated with aviation. And for us, just getting that first bit of capital so that we could, what we always outlined, establish the brand, communicate the service, and then execute. And it's hard to sell from an empty wagon. And so we had to get some inventory. We needed an airplane. We found an investor to support our initial growth. And then we hit the streets to tell people who we were and what we were doing. And again, when you're trying to get someone to spend $600 million more to buy a share of an airplane and you're brand new, it's a tough conversation to have.
Not the easiest sale in the process, huh?
I always tell people, if you can sell an airplane to someone, you can sell anything.
Right. Forget about sell me this pen, sell me this plane. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of inventory, how many planes do you guys have in the fleet now?
Yeah, so we've very unique to us. We have 23 Honda Jets and Gulfstream G150s in our operations. What's unique about that is, one, yes, we are the largest Honda Jet fleet operator globally. But in addition to that is we're in 3 geographic regions and soon to announce more geographic regions. What that means is if you're here in the U.S. and you're a share owner with Jetit, if you want to travel to Europe on Delta or American, whatever the case may be, or we can coordinate a long-range airplane to fly you there privately. But once you're in the territory, once you're in Europe, you can travel throughout Europe on one of our Jet Club airplanes. That's our sister company run by my co-founder. And that opportunity in itself is unmatched from a value standpoint. Yeah. To have our same cost-effective service. You just pay the rate in that country, and you have the same consistent experience that you're used to here in the U.S., the same for Canada, and soon some of the places we're getting ready to announce in the very near future.
So I got to ask, is this, for the, let's just call I don't want to say the average person, but is this a fit for anybody that can afford to be able to take advantage of this service? Or is this something where you've identified your demographic of client of, affluent people that can, that really don't care how much it costs to fly or aren't really concerned? Or how's it all work pertaining to, because this is all new to us, like private aviation. We didn't think about this stuff 15 to even 10 years ago. I think it was for, the ultra rich, and that was it. But how does that all work now for the average working person, I would say?
Yeah, it is, at the end of the day, it's about physics. You're trying to move 1,000 pounds or 2,000 pounds, whatever the case may be, of people in bags from one spot to the next. The faster you move it, the more expensive it's going to be. Private aircraft, or you're moving 1,000 pounds of people in bags. So to go from New York to South Florida by yourself on an airplane requires an expensive piece of equipment to move it quickly. You can do it in your car, but it's going to take you a long time. So you lose the efficiency there. It's definitely less expensive to do so, but again, you lose the efficiency. Sure. You can do it on a commercial flight, but it's definitely, again, you lose the autonomy, you lose the efficiency. You leave when the airport says, or the airline says you're going to leave. You have to stop in Charlotte or Atlanta or whatever the case may be where they say you're going to stop. Well, if you want to do it directly, it is a little more expensive because that energy necessary, that equipment necessary to move that 1,000 pounds is a little more expensive. But in our case, we brought that price point down considerably. And it's only $1,800 an hour for the whole airplane, for the crew, for the fuel, no landing fees, no handling fees, no reposition costs, no empty leg fees. That's it. It's just, so if you've got 4 people on board and you're going an hour away, and you normally fly business or first class, you're pretty close to the same price point. But now you can leave when you want. You don't have any connections, and you can get more time and more value out of your day.
Do you guys offer the whole Escalade picks you up and drives you out on the tarmac and drives you right to the door of the airplane too with the whole carpet? I want the whole experience.
Absolutely. And we work with some preferred partners to make sure that they know where the FBO is. Like you said, the Uber sometimes may not know where it is, or the directions may not be correct for them. They're hard to find sometimes. So we work with preferred vendors and partners that know where the airplanes are. And absolutely, if the airport will allow them to drive right up onto the ramp, we pick you up on the ramp, we load your bags, and you're gone. The same thing for when you show up and get dropped off. You show up, you're there. You're in the airplane and we're airborne within 10 minutes of you hitting the airport grounds. It's an amazing experience. And at the end of the day, it goes back to what I was talking about earlier, Sebastian, time. What we do is give people time.
Right.
It's more time in your day to visit with your family, more time to get business meetings, to beat your competitors to the spot. It's more time to spend with the suppliers to make sure that they're doing their jobs. And it just creates more value to all of our lives.
Absolutely. I may have been spending too much time on Instagram with those visions of the chauffeur right to the airplane door. I don't know. I blame Instagram, Glenn. I really do. So this is incredible. Yeah. And when you break it down like that and you think, yeah, if you do fly business class or first class, I mean, you're pretty close to where you're at. And I hear that a lot from a lot of friends of mine, people I've done business with that have done extremely well, that fly private or actually own their own plane. And that's the number one thing they say. This isn't just a flex, if you will, that I have a plane. It's that I'm able to buy time and I'm able to.
We don't see a lot of, I mean, there are celebrities that utilize our service, but 90% of the people who utilize our service are business owners. They're entrepreneurs, they're executives, they're the teams of those companies and businesses, because it gives them the opportunity to get more done in a day. And the more you can get accomplished, the more effective you can be with your time management. It's such a great tool to have in your back pocket.
Is that really a tool you guys utilize sales-wise as far as spreading the word and to your prospects and clients of like, hey, listen, this is going to condense time, save money, make things more efficient, et cetera? Is that really like the core of your presentation?
It is. A lot of companies will go out and they'll say that you're going to spend time in the airports, and they sell fear. We try to sell what people really want and need. We talk about the passions. We talk about the value. And when you experience that and you recognize I'm buying into this for the good in it, not to run away from something that's negative, it's a great response, and it connects us with our clients. And at that point, we've established the brand, we've communicated the service, and then we just have to execute and make sure that the airplanes are there on time, taking people to and from safely. And we make them happy in the process.
I love it. So one last question. Is this just for, this isn't a shared experience. This is just for, if I wanted to go, I'd need to find, 4 of my buddies that would want to do, or 4 business associates that would want to go. It wouldn't be, I would show up and there's 4 other people on the plane too.
No, it's a completely, our tagline is private, fast, smart. It's a private experience. The only people who are on the airplane with you are the people that you invite to join you.
Okay.
It's a twin engine jet. So you're 43,000 feet pushing around at 7 miles a minute. And it's smart. At $1,800 an hour for the whole airplane, you really just can't beat it. And there are a number of tax benefits associated with buying a share. But it's just a smart way to live. It's a great value, and it's a great experience on top of all of that, with our client experience team providing 24/7 communication, 24/7 concierge efforts. We're here for providing a great service and making people happy.
Now, is this a membership type of deal, or how does it all work to be able to get involved and be able to utilize the Jetted services?
Yeah, so the Jetted service, you're buying a piece of the airplane. It's titled to you just like your car, and that percentage of the airplane affords you a number of days on an annual basis, or over the next several years, 5 to 10 years. There's no reassessment. We want to keep you happy and keep you on board over a 10-year period, but that piece of the airplane comes with those days, a small monthly expense, and then you're just paying the time that you're on the airplane at $1,800 an hour. To give a brief example, we had a commercial real estate customer of ours went and touched 4 cities in one day, which would have taken him 3 days to do, but touching 4 cities, less than $7,000 in total expense. The return on investment is incredible. So for those small and medium-sized business owners who are looking for more efficiency, more autonomy in how they travel, just to get more out of their day when they need to step outside of their immediate circle and locale, you just can't beat what we've brought and put together.
Sounds like a great solution for my upcoming world tour. Those dates are still to be determined, but I love it. Well, this is very exciting. I always get excited about technology in the future and innovation and being able to just remove just another layer of friction from our lives here. And that's exactly what you guys are doing in the aviation space and for businesses alike that understand the value of being able to save time, save money, and provide better resources for their organization. So what's going on? Last question. What's in store for 2022? It's clear you guys have, dare I say, hit the ground running.
Yeah, we're off and running for certain. We are adding a number of airplanes. We added 13 airplanes to our operations last year. Looking to add 15 airplanes this year. Very excited about that. We added 70 people to our workforce last year, expecting to double that number again this year. It's all about growth. And but doing so smartly, making sure that we scale, that we're protecting the culture of our company while still sticking with our priorities, operating safely and making people happy. So we'll continue to grow. We'll continue to provide great service and ultimately drive our way to a position where we are the world's provider of choice when it comes to private travel. That's our ultimate goal.
Well, it sounds like you guys are well on your way to being able to do just that. You guys are thinking, and you're listening to this right now, you're going, wait a second, I didn't even know a solution like this existed. I need to check them out. You're going to be able to check them out with the link in the description of this podcast episode. It's gojetit.com, but don't worry about writing it down as it will be in the show description. Well, Glenn, I really enjoyed our conversation and learning more about what you guys got going on at Jetit. I wish you guys nothing but the best and continued growth, and you have to come back sometime and update us on what you guys have been up to.
Well, absolutely. Be happy to, Sebastian. And when you're ready for that next trip down to the Bahamas, give us a call.
Oh, I will most definitely do that. Thanks again, awesome. Glenn.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Until next time, friends. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Grit Daily Startup. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get updates as new episodes become available. This podcast is brought to you by gritdaily.com, the premier startup news hub. More information at gritdaily.com. Once again, I'm your host, Sebastian Rusk. Until next time, friends.